Hi everyone, just check that you can hear me. So we should be live now. There's still too much of it. Oh, it's okay, it's a little bit faster. Okay. Just trying to clean up a little bit here. See how this goes. All right, so audio should be good. You should be hearing me fine, and let's go ahead and actually have a look at the markets. So 3, 4. There's a little bit of a lag on the video, by the way. It's about, which I'm trying. It's okay. It's about 5 seconds. It's not so bad. Okay, so first of all, what we're going to do is have a look at NFP. I think it's very important. We've got, this is where the euro dollar is at the moment. So if we look at it on, on a daily basis, we've got it right up at this key level, which could still hold. It could potentially still hold and come all the way down, or it could break through, and then we could see a shift in the weekly. So we have a weekly engulfing bar, very, very bullish. So I'm aware that that could happen. If it gets knocked down, we could see it close bearishly. Let's just go and see how the stream health is doing. Everything looks good. Let me just head out and see if anyone has an issue with this. I'm just checking. Nobody's joined in yet, so it could be a variety of reasons. And I want to make sure that there's no issues with this. 1:15 p.m. Okay, all good on my side. Maybe it needs to be... no, should all be good. It's public. Okay, we're good. I'm just checking. We're live. How does OBS look? OBS is good. All right, so we're all good. Okay, I'm just going to carry on then. So, all right. So the first thing I want to do today is to see how it reacts at this. This is a very bullish engulfing bar, which hints that the market wants to push higher, which hints at a weaker dollar. And now here's the thing, is when the news comes out, there could be an initial reaction, which could be stronger dollar, weaker dollar, either way. And then actually throughout the rest of the day, it can completely change direction. So let's say that we get a very strong dollar right out the gate, knocks it down. Within about 2 hours, it could start to recover, go all the way up and finish closing on the upside. This is why NFP is tricky to trade and not really worthwhile in my opinion. So I just want to highlight that, okay? And so that will potentially, have, that means that if that is going to be the case, I'm going to see euro dollar push all the way up here towards the 1.5 area, which is quite strong. So also, it's not a good idea Oh, hi Michael, hello. Hi Osman, glad to have you on board. Hi Tanil. Also, let me know if you can hear me, if the sound is good. Okay, it should be. Also, for me, I never look at NFP's reaction on a low time frame, like the 5 minutes, because it's such a big move that it distorts there's no real perspective in it. It's a very good idea to watch it on the 4 hour. That really gives you a sense of, oh, okay, like it's a big move. So what kind of moves can we expect? We can expect a 150 pip, anywhere from 50 pips to 150 pips move in the initial reaction. 150 pips is a lot. I mean, that's really big. But 50 pips is acceptable. 75 pips. If you had something more than 150 pips, that's an unusual market reaction. Generally speaking, jobs numbers are generally healthy. The market is a little bit obsessed with inflation at the moment. But I'm not expecting, and it can always happen, but I'm not expecting any earthquakes today. I think it's possible, the markets are looking stock markets are looking a little bit touchy. But the rest of the stock markets, like the non-US ones, are looking okay. So I'm not really expecting any earth-shattering stuff. The purpose of this was to see how the market reacts. Does this level hold? In other words, does it push back from that level, or does it break through on that? And therefore, what are the transactions? Thank you very much. Thanks. Then because this is really where the big fish are doing transactions today. So there's a lot of liquidity at the major areas. So the big fish are transacting with the big fish, and we're just around it. We tend to do a lot of our stuff in between the two levels here. And so usually it's not a surprise that it arrives when you get something like non-farm payroll or FOMC or any interest rates, that the price is already at a major level. It's not by accident, it's by design. because those key levels are where the decisions are then made, the fork in the road. Okay, so I'm going to mark it because there could well be, you know, there's a, that's just not the best way to do it, is it? Is whichever way it's going to go. Okay, so that's euro dollar. We're not going to, we'll see about moving averages and so on and so forth. I've got a couple of different templates. Let's do this and bring up the list, and let's have a look at a few of the others. So if we just go up and bring up cable, you can see the US session is about to start. Let's also see what other templates I've got here as well. TWP style. So there we can kind of see what's going on. Let's look at the 4 hour as well. So you can see here with sterling, it's come right back down to these lows. And I've also got a nice little, I love this. It's a really nice little fractal support and resistance. It's just such a great, relatively quick support resistance level. Throws it in, works quite well. Okay, so a lot of this is indicating currently that euro dollar is looking nice and strong. Okay, euro dollar is looking nice and strong, and therefore it could push through, but it is at a major level. It is overextended, and therefore a correction also makes a lot of sense, which is why we don't trade it, because there's no real sign pointing to which way it can go. Sterling looks quite weak, so both of these are showing that there is a potential for a stronger US dollar outcome. Let's have a look at Aussie dollar, US dollar. So Aussie dollar heading lower, so that's Aussie weakness, and Kiwi dollar also relatively weaker. Now, forget about dollar yen, because dollar yen does its own thing anyway. Let's have a look at the US indices. This is a big one. So here's the Dow. Let's get some perspective on it. What does the daily look like? So the daily is pulled back to, I think it was the 618. So if we just throw in, measure these from the highs, so let's go to that one and that one. We're at, this was probably the 786. Okay, that's fine. We'll leave that out for now. And then if I just move it up, we've got almost there, 618 from there. It's not a big deal, but the point is, I would say that it is coming back up to potentially test resistance. And so I want to just be aware of that. Could we have a move back down to these lows here? What does that mean for the week? Because if we look at the weekly, we had a really strong rejection of the lows here. Could we finish with a rejection here? What does that mean? It means indecision. So let me explain why. We were in a relatively okay uptrend. We've broken that uptrend by coming down here. This low has broken all of these lows over here, which means that uptrend is finished, kaput. There's no more uptrend there. The question is, what is it going to do now? Is it going to consolidate and then break up to the upside? Is it going to, in other words, take a breather, or is it going to break to the downside? Are we going to have a deeper correction from a monthly perspective? Are we going to have a correction down below these lows, potentially down towards the previous levels? It's possible, but I'm leaning towards it not being the case for now. So we could finish strong, and I'm really interested to see if we finish strong for the week. That actually sets up for longs back up to these highs next week, which means potential buying opportunities for day traders. It also means quite a few stocks will have nice little buy setups in their candles. So what I'll do is, to give that kind of perspective, is to go switch to a bigger picture here. So go look at a top bottom classic. So let's have a look at this, and then have a look at things like the US markets, equity markets, and see how they look. So all I want to do here is see how they potentially respond. So I've got a monthly and a weekly. Just want to see how those weekly candles flesh out. And we're just going to watch it for 15 minutes, 10-15 minutes, just to see how the market reacts initially. We've got a few minutes before it counts down. Where's my clock? I don't really have that now. Okay. And what else? It's also not important as to what the expectations are, because it doesn't matter whether the expectations are positive or negative, and then the market's reaction to that is on track or off track. What we want to do today is just see how the market reacts, because if the market reacts negatively, it expresses disappointment anyway. Whether the numbers are good, the numbers could be good, but just not as good as everyone was expecting. So we're spoiled because the numbers are good but not good enough, and then we're going to sulk about that. So it doesn't really matter. We'll see whether the market is ultimately okay, disappointed, or happy. And the market is generally jaded to begin with, so these days. So let's see how that goes. Do I think Swissy yen from the weekly chart will rise? Keeping an eye on the time. go and have a look at that. Always a good idea to create templates to do those sort of things. Fractal support and resistance, and on the weekly you say. It is good. If I insert the MACD, so the MACD is a very good go-to. MACD RSI are very good, but as a go-to thing, what I'm looking for here is overall between that high and that high, it looks like it's trending higher, so it looks nice and bullish. It had a breakout, retest, continuation up to the next level. It's pulled back, produced a bullish candle. That is in isolation. And look at the beautiful parallel behavior of these moving averages, just generally just tracking higher. So let's have a look at it on the other chart as well. So let's go here, look at Swissy yen here. Yeah, I mean, so far that monthly looks good. It's not that overextended. It's trending higher. You got 50, 20, and 10, and the MACD. So all the signs of the bullish are not super bullish, but just trickling higher. So it's not a strong trend, and that's not a criticism. It's just managing expectations. This is not a super strong trend. It is bullish, but on a rating of 10 out of 10 being like a rocket, it's a 6.5 out of 10 versus even a 7 out of 10. So yeah, it's bullish. Okay, so let's go back and have a look at how the rest of the markets are going to react. We'll come back to this one. Let's go and see how the how prices react to this in a couple of minutes. It does look pretty nice and bullish there. And the FTSE as well, we can bring that up. So the FTSE we can bring up into a chart to see how that's going to react. 4 hour again is still a very good way to kind of just have a look at it to get a sense of that, just to see whether it drops or not. Okay, we can bring up the DAX. Nice little feature here where we could just tile the windows and just see how they go. Let's go to my indicators here. Get rid of the market hours. We don't need that. It's just in the way. I don't need this, but we'll just keep it up for now. So that's the US. We'll make this one the S&P so we can see, or NASDAQ. So we'll see that as the NASDAQ. On the weekly, I want this to be the weekly as well to get some perspective of it. And the FTSE can be the daily or weekly. The Euro, Swissy yen, DAX. Okay, it's going to happen soon, guys. Let's have a look at this. The DAX, is that going to break that level of support? Swissy yen, we don't have to worry about too much. I think let's put in sterling and see what happens there. Sterling. Okay, let's put that down to a daily. And let's see what happens on this. What's that sense of it? I've upgraded my machine to, not my laptop, my desktop, to version 11, and I did some wrangling with the. There we go. Let's see how this goes. Not much of a reaction. Wait for it. Wait for it. Look at how the US has taken a bit of a hit there. So implying stronger dollar. Euro's taking a bit of a hit. Sterling is down. Okay, let's go down to the 4 hour here. So that's taking a bit of a knock there. Bit of a push down through that level. Okay. But it's not over yet. So this is why you watch, because honestly, I've seen it move one way for an hour, and then the rest of the day it does a complete U-turn and just bullets the other way. And this is not necessarily, I think it's important to emphasize here, this is not necessarily going to make big institutions change course. This is what we need to understand. You have got layers of investors / traders participating in the markets, and some of them have a long-term plan. So in other words, unless a whole lot of things change, they're not going to change course. Then medium term, where they're going, look, this is our position for the next few weeks or the next few months, and they might change course here if there's any reason for concern. But again, they wouldn't change off one thing. It wouldn't just be off non-farm. It would be off, inflation going out of control, plus jobs, plus an increase in defaults, I don't know, plus other stuff. And then they were like, okay, maybe we need to reduce our exposure here. But so far, the biggest move is generally the NASDAQ. So the NASDAQ has taken a real knock to the downside. Okay, or by comparison, but that's it. So when I see this, this tells me the numbers are pretty much, we'll go see. The numbers are pretty much what we're expected, not that far, not big, huge deviation. So let's go and see what the result is on this. Okay, we're still waiting for it. Let's go to Forex Live. See what they say. Non-467 plus 150K. Okay, let's see here. Just see what they are. There we go. So they were the forecast versus actual. So expecting 110,000, got a whole lot more. Okay, so that's massive. That is, first of all, standalone, that is a massive amount of jobs just to have. Not only that, but it's about, what, 300% more than they were expecting? Let's have a look here at the numbers. Let's see what that looks like. Let's go in and just see here prior. Let's exclude that data. So all we're doing now is we just want to see what the market looked like on average. This is the forecast and this is the actual. It's good. Okay, so it's decent. The main thing here, employment changes dropped down. It's much lower than expected. Unemployment is still at 6.5%. That's okay. It's okay. All right, point is, numbers aren't bad. Economy is actually doing okay. There we go. It's okay. Cool. Let's go back to the charts and let's see how the charts are reacting. So we should, off that, if the economy is doing okay or jobs are up, stronger dollar, perhaps it's countered a bit by inflation. I don't want to overthink it. It's more about how's the market reacting to that. Here you can see sterling is taking quite a bit of a knock, which could mean, if we look at that on the daily, we could be getting a lower high. So next week we could see moves down to these levels here. If that's going to finish, very important if it's going to finish that way. We've got a downtrend here with a lower high there. So breakthrough, pullback, that could be a continuation down. So we could see that happening. On the NASDAQ, we're seeing moves down. A lower stuff, continuation down. Certainly down to this level here. The Dow looking okay. Let's have a look. The FTSE's holding. FTSE overall is looking okay. How bad is the daily? All right, so it's a bit of a rejection here. We might see a move lower. We'll see how that goes. And that, so where's the DAX? Here's the DAX is down here. That's taking a bit of a knock. There's my daily. Where's my monthly? Okay, back down. So this could mean that we're now starting a bit of a correction on that. Interesting because the unemployment has gone up a fraction or is the same. But non-farm jobs is up anyway. So, what else? This is really about what to do. Euro's taken a minor knock, massively overextended. So even if we didn't know about non-farm payroll, we would expect it we would expect at some point for it to come back down to these lows. If we look at that from a daily perspective, bit of a rejection candle here. So we could see it being range bound, heading lower. So I think it's important because I'm going to wrap up in the next 5 minutes. We've got 5 more minutes. That if we do close ultimately as this, we could see a stronger dollar, and therefore next week there'll be shorting opportunities for day traders on sterling, on the euro dollar, on a few others. But the day is not over yet. So these are looking a little bit pessimistic. We could see the market starting to correct a little bit. Remember that the markets are not always correlated or inverse correlated. They can be, but they don't have to be. What I mean by that is you can have a strong stock market, a strong US dollar, gold can be in demand. You can have all those things happen at the same time. You can have a strong euro, a strong pound, strong economies in multiple countries. There isn't a fixed rule that says gold has to, is obliged to obey some inverse correlation with blah, blah, blah. And so right now we can have the market start to correct even if we have as well a stronger dollar, which is often the case that's mentioned. So what I'm seeing here, ladies and gents, not too much of a really, really big change. We look at that. So far, we're not getting the actual reveal. This looks like a normal 4-hour correction, tiny. The move itself, going to the 5-minute time frame, not a very big one. What was that? 29 pips, 30 pips. It's fine. Not a big one. We're going to see if we end up getting a push higher. We're seeing mainly, I would say, the indices are looking more and more bearish. So I want to see where they close. But they look as though they're going to close either indecision, so close to that, meaning no real decision at this point, or slightly bearishly. So don't forget, on Sunday, I will do my market analysis. If not Saturday, I'll do it on Sunday to see what the outcome or what my plan is for next week. But Euro, the currencies look fine. They're not really changing that much. It's more the indices that look good. Let's see how gold reacted. So we'll go through the gold and put gold in where sterling is. Not much happening there. Daily, a bit of a knockdown, stronger dollar. So it's really just a stronger dollar. And look, the stronger dollar move on gold was bigger than the stronger dollar move on euro. So that just means gold is a little bit weak. Euro is not that weak. And you can see the indices pushing a little bit lower. So how does that look daily? Yeah, I mean, that's a bit of a double top, potentially going to hit a bit lower. The DAX looking a little bit bearish. I wanted to have a look at the NASDAQ. NASDAQ is a little bit more. Let's have a look at some of the indices quickly, so we'll do that. There's the S&P. It's the same. Let's have a look at these ones here. Yeah, so nothing spectacular. The Russell, bit of a push down. DAX, for that French CAC, the ASICs, let's see. That's fine, but that's probably closed anyway. And then we have crude. How did crude take the hit? Crude is solid, not a problem. That's all good. How did silver take the hit? That's knocked back a bit, not a problem. How did Apple on a couple of those, because they would have opened now. So for example, week ahead, Meta. How's Meta reacted? Meta's just got its ass kicked this week. Absolutely. Vanguard, it's okay. That's a bit of a bearish setup, so that I was expecting to be a little bit more bullish. Look at BP as well as Exxon are doing just fine. They're doing okay just because of the crisis, the energy crisis stuff. We'll see how that is. That's Russia and Eastern Europe. How are some of these other ones doing? They're okay. Overall, ladies and gents, this is not terrible. Very little reaction. So mainly I would say currencies have shrugged it off. It seems that it's particular to the US indices, pretty much. Swissy yen, just so we can cover all of them. And then I think that's it. That's fine. It's going to close for a weekly candle. Guys, anything else you want me to have a look at? Anything you want me to have a look at before we wrap up? That's kind of it. And then I'll just have another look again on the weekend. You too, Michael. Thank you very much. Yeah, there's not a lot, not too much to worry about, stress about this. Currencies take a fresh look at on Monday because I need to see where they close at. Honestly, we're going to see what it does. I think we're just going to see some corrections and continuations. And the indices, we'll see if they can recover. The story's not over yet. Over the next 2-3 hours, 3-4 hours, in fact, it'll decide which way it's actually going to go. It'll commit. So either we'll see it then actually start to pick up momentum to the downside if we get a stronger dollar, or it'll give some of it back. We'll see how it goes. Yep. All right. Hey, Richard. Good. Thank you very much. Do I think the Aussie currencies will fall in the upcoming weeks? Okay. Easiest way to answer that is look at all the Aussie pairs like this. So just go through those pairs quickly. Aussie Kiwi is exhaustion here. Looks like there's a bit of exhaustion there. Aussie CAD is trending lower. Back into the moving averages. Could as well. Aussie Swissy definitely looks like it wants to head lower. Aussie Yen, a bit of exhaustion there as well. There's more evidence to support that they are weak than that they're strong. Agreed. Cool. Okay. I think that's it. I'm going to wrap that up. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you so much. I'm going to end the stream, and I'll try and do a live analysis next week as well, if I can do that. Okay. Just wanted to get back into things, and also I'm away in March. But yep. Thank you, ladies and gents. Have a good weekend. Cool. Bye.